Hi everyone, it's Jess Minnick-Black and I'm recording my Module 3 Inquiry Lab where I create my water filtration system. So in order to start, I needed to research the earth materials and the layers of soil. So I found some diagrams and I learned that the top layer is called the humus, then we have the topsoil, the subsoil, the weathered rock fragments, and the bedrock. And by looking at these models, I made the observation that the soil was finer at the top and that the components of the soil got larger as they got closer to the center of the earth. And I used that understanding as I created my water filtration system. So in order to do so, I used alum, cheesecloth, gravel, sand, charcoal, plastic cups, mesh, push pins, coffee filters, water and dirt, scissors, and a ruler. And I didn't receive my materials in the mail, so some of them I had to find at the store or get creative with things around my house. So I wanted to research more about alum because I wasn't sure about the purpose of it. So I learned that alum, also known as aluminum sulfate, causes unwanted water particles to clump together and be filtered out of the water. And I made the connection that this would represent the minerals found in the earth to help purify the water. So the relationship between the soil layers and the water filtration system. So in my water filtration system, the humus is represented by the cheesecloth. The topsoil is represented by the charcoal, the subsoil is represented by the sand, and the rock is represented by the gravel. So in my first trial, at the top, the water first went through a mesh screen that had the gravel inside of it. The next cup had the sand inside of a coffee filter. The next cup had charcoal, and at the bottom I had cheesecloth with alum sitting on top of it, and the water filtered into a glass cup at the bottom. My first trial, the water was still rather cloudy, so you can see my start and my outcome, and the water is definitely a lot clearer and a lot of the dirt particles have been removed, but I wanted to see if I could get water that was more clear and didn't have that cloudy look to it. So I made some revisions and did a trial 2. So I started with large chunks of charcoal in my first trial. Like I said, I had to get creative with things around my house, and I only had large chunks of charcoal. And so when I broke them up, they were still rather large, so I broke them up smaller for my second trial. I also noticed that the cheesecloth I used in the first trial was rather thick, and so I used a thinner layer of cheesecloth for my second trial, and then the alum is sitting in the cup. And this outcome allowed the water to be much clearer, and the water also filtered through the filtration system a lot quicker, and it was no longer puddling on top of the cheesecloth. So my reflections about this project. At first, I was a little stumped about how to create a water filtration system. This was something that was completely new to me and a new concept as far as layers of soil and how the water is filtered in the earth. So I had to do some research, just as many students would have to do. But I will say this was a very instant gratification from this activity, and it was very engaging, so I imagine that would be the same for students as well. And so some of the strengths I identified from this activity were problem solving, and it was really easy to move the cups around, so students, if they wanted to quick make a change, it would be easy to do so. They're developing and using models to carry out a plan that directly related to a real-world concept, so it has that real-world correspondence, and the students are instantly gratified by watching the water filter through and seeing the end result, so it would keep them really engaged. And so that corresponds to a lot of the science practices in Figure 4 and that relate to the NGSS standards. And so 3 of them that I highlighted were developing and using models, obtaining and evaluating and communicating information, and planning and carrying out investigations. So I hope you guys enjoyed my water filtration system, and I look forward to seeing everyone else's.